and I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight, author of How to Fight Presidents, and owner of a brand new car, Daniel O'Brien. Joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, beep beep.
Hey, it's me, Mr. Co-host, coming at ya from my own sedan. So hold on, you got a new car. That means
Yeah.
So I assume like the license, like getting a license was just no bumps there. You learned how to drive.
No, I did that famous thing. I put the car before the course. So I got the car, and then I'm gonna figure out what to do with it later.
Oh, okay. Can I guess what kind of car you got?
Sure.
I have to ask you a few questions. Is it a plug-in hybrid? Mm-mm. Is it a electric?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm
These
doing
are all
my
good
part
things.
to preserve our very fragile power grid in this country.
That's so kind of you. You're keeping those coal miners in business, and I applaud you for that. Okay, I am thinking, I know what kind of car you've had previously. You got I have three guesses. Honda CR-V.
Next guess?
Okay. A Kia Telluride.
Next guess?
Fuck, it's smaller, isn't it? It's something smaller. You wouldn't dare go as pedestrian as a Camry. I should swing for the fences with this one. You got a Sebring convertible.
No, absolutely not.
What did you get?
I thought you were on the right path.
Oh, I was? Okay.
Yeah, when you said the CRV, I was like, he's going to get this in 3. He's going to go...
I started veering off. That was a huge mistake.
It's the Subaru Forester?
Yes. Oh, they're so close. Spiritual cousins.
I know. You're and like truly when I look at it in my parking spot, it's apart from the color being different than the car I've been driving for the last few years, it's basically a Hyundai Santa Fe, which is I've been driving a Santa Fe since one of 2 different Santa Fe's since 2006 has been my car up until the present. And it's not to the untrained eye a wildly different looking car, but for me it's such a world like I didn't need a 2023 car, which is what I got, because anything that can do Bluetooth in the car is already a very futuristic version of a car to me, because I've been driving around in a 2007 for very, very long. And I got all these bells and whistles that I don't need because I get in the car and I'm like, it talks to my phone. It's all very exciting for me.
It's actually really nice when you there's a huge gap. You take a big technological leap where like you miss a bunch of the iterations and then you're like, you're above everybody else. Like you're at the peak of technology, but your previous thing was basically a horse and a carriage. Like,
right. I mean, at this point with phones, there's almost no new iPhone that can come out that's going to be completely game changing for me because I keep up with them within a few years of every new iteration of the iPhone. But with car, because there was such a gap for me, I'm so thrilled.
It doesn't feel like it's for you, does it? It feels like you're like, oh, I lucked into this technology.
Yeah, and they were like the woman who was going through the car for me, one of the like 4 people that are involved in this process now that I don't understand what anyone's job is, but there's like the salesman, there's the person who comes out of the room to tell me how much money it's going to cost. There's an additional money person who is the real money person. And then there was this other woman who was like, now I'm going to show you how your car works and tell you what all the buttons do. And first of all, she assumed I knew so much because I'm an adult in 2023.
Yeah,
and so she breezed by a lot of stuff that I probably need. But for another one, she was like, and here's what this feature does, and here's what that feature does. And just knowing how I am with and what I need from cars, I'm just like, oh, boy, I'm not going to use any of that at all. It's going to take me 3 years to get used to this camera that shows up when I back up. I'm not going to need this button that I'm supposed to press if I'm sleepy. What are you talking about?
You have a button that you press when you're sleepy?
So it's not, this is probably crimes because she is describing a version of cruise control that was like, if you're ever on a major highway, like it's not going to work in backwoods streets or anything like that. But if you're on a highway or a parkway, you can press this button and it will make sure that you don't accidentally veer into the other lanes. The car will stop you from doing that. I like to use it if ever I'm like really sleepy when I'm driving.
What a reveal.
Yeah.
It also keeps you a certain distance from the car in front of you, right?
I guess.
Yeah,
I put it right out of my mind because I'm not gonna need those features.
This is what cruise control is now. Cruise control is like way better now, where you can, the car can tell if you take your hands off the wheel, but basically you turn on your cruise control, it will always keep you at the speed you want to be going, but it will also keep you a certain distance from the cars in front of you. It will make sure that you don't veer into other lanes. So effectively, it can drive itself. If, for instance, you have my car, which it's by weight, when on the steering wheel. So if you had a full can of Coke, an unopened can of Coke, and you happen to put it on the steering wheel, the car will drive itself out on a freeway. And
this woman also explained it to me. Is like, whenever there's a cop behind me, I press this button on too, and I just think, I think we're making cars too idiot proof. I think this is bad.
Does it drop a bunch of tacks in the road? Okay, I have a couple questions about your car. First of all, is Spotify included in the car? Does it have its own Spotify?
It might have its own Spotify. I do Apple CarPlay, so it just mirrors my phone and does exactly what my phone is.
Okay,
which is very handy.
So you can pull up anything you would ordinarily pull up on your phone on your dashboard, right?
Except Slack, which is the app that I use for messaging at work. And it technically shouldn't matter that I can't get my work app on my car because I'm always at work when I'm supposed to be at work. I am never driving to a different location. I'm always in front of my computer, so it's actually good that Slack is not on cars.
I was fiddling with mine the other day and I was just like going through some stuff and my kids were both in the car and I was like, I have YouTube on here? And so
really?
We're at a light and I pull up YouTube and I just like, the first thing it recommended to me was this Peppa Pig thing and I put it on and both my kids, like their heads pop around the corners and all of a sudden we're watching TV on my screen in my car and I was like, this is not a power I should have.
Is it because you have YouTube on your phone or it just comes with your car?
No. So one of the updates, YouTube just became an icon I can use or like an app that I can use on my car. So my car has its own internet and it like Spotify works on it, a bunch of different things work within the car, but then also occasionally like I'll do an update, come back out to my car and something brand new will be there. And in this case, it was YouTube.
Oh no. I am constantly looking for more stuff that I can do while I'm driving. That's bad news.
I will be nice for my kids, I think. If I could, I don't even know if I'm allowed to drive while it's on. I would hope not. But if I could, like if I'm on a road trip or something, then I don't have to set up the iPad in between the seats or whatever for them. All right, my other question for you is, are there, and maybe you haven't even noticed yet, but if you go into your car, maybe up above the rearview mirror or maybe on the bottom of the rearview mirror, are there just 3 nondescript buttons?
I have not checked.
Okay. These are the buttons. Are
those for my theoretical garage door? For
your theoretical anything.
Oh.
Yeah, they can do all kinds of stuff. You can program them to just about anything. So I thought, they always say like, yeah, that's for a garage door. But you can program them for your, like, let's say you have a home alarm or something like that. You can program to turn or open your front door when you push that button. They can do like anything that's programmable, like anything that has a remote to it, you can program it. You could effectively, you could turn on your television with it. Yeah. Not that you'd want to. But when I found out about that, I was like, oh my God, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Everything in my life is by remote.
You can customize it, yeah. I don't think I would need that because I immediately downloaded the app that allows me to start the car remotely with my phone. Yeah. And within truly 5 minutes did it accidentally and had to run out of my apartment. I know there are fail-safes and the car won't drive away and no one's going to be able to break into it without the key. But I didn't know that at the time. Yeah. I just started my car in my pajamas. I was like, oh no, pause the movie. I have to go.
When I first got our Volt back in 2014, there were a few mornings where I woke up and thought that my car had been broken into. And what I had done accidentally is that I had the app open on my phone, had pushed some buttons in my pocket, and all of the windows had gone down on the car and it had unlocked.
Let me ask you a question about your car when you got it, because I want to see how crazy I am. Did you? So your 2014 Volt, you got it brand new?
That's not the most recent car I've gotten, but
Okay.
yes.
So tell me the most recent car you've gotten.
In 2021, we got I think it was 2021, we got a Volvo XC40, which is a fully electric.
Okay. And that was, you got a 2021 in 2021.
Yeah, it's new.
Just be gentle with your reaction if I reveal too much about myself. Did you have a hard time not smiling and waving at other people who had your car? Because let me tell you, buddy, I'm trying to make friends, and I don't think the other foresters out there know that we're in a brotherhood.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are the lesbians not waving back to you, Dan?
I get so excited when I see there's like, especially if it's the same color as mine, because then you have to. Then it's not weird that I'm waving and smiling at you. But even if I just see another Forester in a different color, I'll still like light up and try to get their attention. If I see a Subaru Crosstrek, I'm like, well, we're still cousins. There's nothing wrong with that. We can. Where are you going?
Should we get together this summer?
Right.
That's so funny. Yeah, you see Outbacks and stuff. I have Subarus. There are certain types of car that does foster a community, right? Like Jeep. For whatever fucking reason, people who have Jeeps all like wave to each other. Did you know that?
That is no.
Yeah, so like the no door Jeeps, people they all like each other.
It's very. This is a new superpower of yours because I wave at all the Subaru drivers. My sister-in-law has a Subaru, and once I told her I got this car, she said, "Welcome to the Subaru family. You're never going back now." And Shay is in the market for a Jeep right now, and she is seeing Jeeps everywhere.
Yeah.
And she's part of that Jeep family. And that's okay. I mean, it's 2023. She can be a Jeep family and I can be a Subaru family. It's okay.
Yeah, you guys, it doesn't have to be nuclear anymore.
No.
Yeah, it is like there's a community of Subaru owners. Growing up in Colorado, everybody had a Subaru in this mountain town. It was like that was the car of choice for families because it was all-wheel drive, it was safe, it was big, like it was big enough that you could get stuff in it, but it wasn't a Suburban. So Subarus were like a huge deal, but that also meant that because everybody had it, there was no sense of like family because everybody has the same car.
Right.
But I could see how like out in the wild, like here, it would be the same as like if I saw someone with a Broncos sticker on their back of their car, I'd be like, oh, I'm catching up to that guy. Hey, Broncos rule. You know?
And he'd be like, hey, no, they don't.
No, they don't. They're terrible.
What are you talking about?
But I will. So my Volvo, it's very easy to tell the difference between a Volvo that is fully electric and a Volvo that is either gas or plug-in hybrid because there is no grill. The front is just like this cool plate. And if I see that out in the world, my instinct is to be like, well, it's the same car. But I don't. I can stifle that pretty quick. I've never once waved to somebody in another Volvo. Like,
I think
Look at us.
they don't understand the idiot narrative in my head. If I see a car that looks like mine, in my brain, you also just bought it 2 weeks ago, and you're also just as excited about it as I am. Like this is, and there's no way for me to know that they could have bought this 10 months ago, and I'm just some goober waving at them, and they're probably thinking, this used to be a car for cool people. Now they're just giving them to these fucking hillbillies.
It is a cool car. My parents had one for a while, and I like driving it.
I love it. I'm very happy, and it's leagues safer than a 2007 Hyundai Santa Fe. And when I still have the Santa Fe, I'm gonna sell it to one of those places that like humanely kills cars, so no one else can drive it ever again. But when
you can't give that to somebody else. Otherwise, they're gonna be listening to Sublime every single day.
Absolutely.
Is that what's stuck in the CD player? I can't remember.
Yeah, 40 ounces to freedom. But when I went to the dealership and they're like, do you want to trade in your car? I was like, do you want that? And I pointed to it in the parking lot. And I was like, it's a 2007 Hyundai Santa Fe. And he was like, what does the odometer say for the mileage? And I was like, it's complicated. I was like, all right. Does everything, what about, as long as there are no like lights or errors on the inside? I'm like, well, it doesn't register that there's gas in the car, so you have to write down your mileage to know. And he's just like, he puts his hand up, he's like, maybe $500 I can give you for that.
Oh man, that was a huge mistake on your part.
I didn't give it to him yet.
You haven't sold it to him?
No.
Oh, okay, great. When you do, like, in buying a new car now, buying a new car has changed over time in that, like...
Yes, and I want to talk about it.
A lot of the old tricks and stuff are dead because there's so much accessibility to everybody online to know how much a new car should be. And, like, a lot of that doesn't matter anymore. The only place that they really, like, the last vestige of hope for a used car salesman or, like, somebody who, like, wants to, like, grift you is in the trade-in. So, like, whatever you're giving them, like, they are going to try to bottom dollar you on your trade-in.
Yeah. I don't see any reason to go back to the dealership with the car because it's not also Subaru, obviously. And there are just so many we buy junk car signs around all over the world. It does feel like it can be a bit of a seller's market.
Yeah, I think
because they understand the value in those cars in a way that I never will. But I know that 700 is more than 500, so why not try to get that?
You'll get more than that even.
Yeah.
I think you could get I think you could get over $1,000 for that car.
Really?
Yeah. Look at the Kelley Blue Book
because
value.
You and I are buddies. I'll give it to you for $950.
Go look at the Kelley Blue Book value for your mileage and everything, and then don't expect that from it, but you can, like, from that then deduct how much you think the car should actually be worth. And I guarantee you it'll be, if it's still running fine and there's like no transmission problems and no engine problems, then that car is worth over $1,000 easily.
It's one of the funniest businesses in the world that I'm not interested in understanding or exploring because it's so, like, it's nakedly desperate and accommodating in a way that makes me feel like no matter what, I'm still the sucker in this situation, because the signs couldn't be simpler. It's we buy junk cars, and if you look into them, they're just like, we'll come to you wherever you, does it not run? We'll take it, we'll tow it, and we'll give you money for it.
Yeah.
And we'll tell the DMV about it, and it's fine. And I love that they're gonna do this and, like, make this as hassle-free as possible. But part of my brain is like, should I be doing something else with this car? Like, you guys have clearly figured out a way to make a profit off of this pile of garbage that smells like 20 years of farts. Is there a smarter thing I could be doing with this? Or am I just going to put my hands up and say, yeah, you know, whatever weird thing you're doing, you earned it. You deserve it. I don't know.
I wouldn't use one of those services. I would.
Why?
Because they have figured it out. They know what their overhead is for, like, making this business profitable. And it is taking advantage of you.
Right.
So you have to go to somewhere. I mean, I think if you did the research on your own car to see how much you thought it was worth, you could bring it to somewhere like Carfax or something like that. Or I'm sorry, like, is that even a place, or is that just the thing that tells you how much cars are worth? One of those big places, and say, this is how much I want for it. And then you have to do the awful part, which is the negotiation, where, like, you just sit there and you're like, I want this much. And they're like, we can only give you this much. And you're like, but it's worth this. And you try to give them the reasons then. And then they're like, let me take it upstairs. And then they, like, come back and, like, oh, this is the highest we can go. And, like, then you're just like, the negotiation, which is a thing I am very bad at, but I know it's possible.
Yes. I mean, I expected nothing from this car.
Okay.
I expected to drive it until my feet went through the bottom of it. And then it just stopped moving completely, apart from what I can Flintstones with my own power. So anything that anyone offers me is fine. And if you're telling me I have to negotiate, well, then that's adding stress and taking time that I don't want.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what it's worth to you. Is it's like, oh, I would pay $1,000 not to do that. Then it's like, yeah. Okay, great.
But speaking of, I did want to talk about the car buying process, because the first time I bought a car before this was right out of college, 2008, when I bought my 2006 Hyundai Santa Fe. And it was such a long process, and it was so stressful, but it was also like what I had been told buying a car was like. Yeah. You tell them what you want, and they sit you down, they get you coffee, they take your information down, they quote you at a number that is higher than what you said you wanted to pay. Then they're like, all right, let me go. I'll disappear for a while. They run to some other room. Then they come back with a different number, and you go back and forth over and over again. And like, I'm 22 years old. I don't have money, so I can't negotiate. So all I'm doing is getting stressed and getting my hopes up, because this guy just keeps saying, just tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. I'm like, this is the amount I could put down. This is the amount I can afford per month. If you can't give me that, I won't be upset. Just tell me so I can leave. And he's like, okay, I understand what you want now. He disappears. He comes back with two numbers that are not the numbers that I want. Yeah. I get stressed. I walk out of the building. He chases me out of the building, tries to get me to come back in. We can't get a number that we want. I leave the building. He calls me 10 minutes later and says, all right, I can do that number if you come back right now. Christ. And I come back right now. That is how my first car went when I was buying it with my dad, who was the one who told me, don't go far. He's going to call you in 10 minutes. And true to form, he was right. This time, now that it's the present, I go into the dealership and I say, I've been looking at this car. I pointed at the Subaru Forester. I said, I haven't really done a lot of research, but this is the car I want. I've been thinking about it for the last year. I am now post-strike in a position where I can buy a car. So I'm pretty sure I want it. I just wanted to drive it around and talk to you and see if there was a different car you recommend. And the guy was the most like chill, casual, didn't take down my phone number or anything like that. And I drove the car. He gave me the numbers, or some other guy gave us the numbers of what it would cost. And I was like, great. No matter what, I was never going to walk away with a car tonight. But I'll be back in 2 days and I will buy this car from you. I'm not interested in like shopping around or like making this a whole process. So I'm sure I'll be here in 2 days. And he's like, all right. Yeah. See you in 2 days. Yeah. He doesn't chase me out. They don't do any follow-up calls or anything like that. He didn't even have my number if he wanted to call. And in the 2 days, I called around to a couple of other different Subaru dealerships. And it's like, I'm just doing my due diligence. This is the number they gave me at this Subaru. And the other dealership beat that number. So I called my initial dealership and I was like, hey, they beat the number that you gave me. And he was like, what? All right. I'll do that number. Just come in and get it. And it was so casual and weird, and there was none of the stress or the chasing or the things that I'd become accustomed to with buying cars. And I didn't know what changed, if I just had a really chill guy or if it's like you say, that there's just so much access and information out there. Right.
Well, it's two things. It's the MSRP for a brand new car is very easy to determine. And so like brand new cars, there's very little wiggle room. The first car that you bought 2 years after it was new.
Correct.
So it was a used car, I'm assuming.
Yes.
And that's where that's when they live in those gray areas. So like trying to buy a used car, I think is way, way worse. They have a lot of potential to like, they have like, it's such a big window for like what this car is worth.
Yeah.
And so I think that's where it gets really awful and terrible. But I think with a brand new car, it's much easier. It's because what are they going to say? What are they going to mark it up like 30%? Then you just go somewhere else because you know what the MSRP is. Market standard retail price, I think.
Thank you. I was never going to get there.
I'm glad you got a new car. That's so exciting, Dan. And does it feel like you don't deserve it? Like, is it that nice?
Yes.
Yeah, good.
It is that nice. And in fact, one of the reasons that I was happy to have the Santa Fe, because the real reason that I didn't immediately turn in the Santa Fe was because I had done no research at the time on what the right process for that was, what the due diligence was, what you do with the place and the DMV, all that stuff. So I was like, I will kick that can down the road and figure that out later. But another part of my brain, as I was buying my nice new car, was thinking, going fishing in a couple of days, I don't want to drive this car and like come back with my smelly fishing clothes and my tackle box in it. So now, very briefly, I was a person who was like, well, I'll just have this other car just for like, if I'm going to be stinky.
This is
the car I drive to the gym. Yeah.
Have you eaten in it yet?
Yeah, I did. But for only because I had like a 4 and 3 hour drive this weekend because we had a little weekend trip that we went to.
Right.
But before that, I had gone to the gym and then showered at the gym, even though I didn't used to and I didn't need to, and changed clothes so I wouldn't be sitting in sweaty clothes. And then I went to a grocery store, and I was so hungry after the gym and shopping that I impulse bought a snack and then stood outside of the store and ate the snack for a snack amount of time. And it wasn't Soren, it wasn't like a protein bar. It was a bag of those little like Twizzler nibs.
I don't know. That's perfect for you. It's a good chewy, fruity candy.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there with my headphones in, standing outside of a grocery store, staring at the parking lot, eating Twizzler nibs to completion, nodding at people who are walking by. Because in my head, I'm like, if I nod at them, I'll seem less suspicious. And I don't think that's true.
You're a nearly 40-year-old man loitering.
Yeah. And if police came, I would have to say like, well, I don't want to spill this in the car. And they were like, what do you mean spill? They're like physical pieces of matter.
Yeah, but
what
if
could
I
they
lose
do to your
one
car?
in the crack and then it gets hot, I don't know
like,
what
officer,
it'll do.
You don't understand. I don't want to set a precedent for me because then I'm going to use that against me later.
Yeah, that's why I was asking. It's like every time I buy a car, and when I say every time, the 2 times I've done it in my whole life, I'm like, well, this is an opportunity for me to become a new human. Like this, I'm going to be a guy who does not eat in the car, doesn't allow food in it. I'm going to be clean. I'm going to wash it every week. I get so ambitious, and the amount of time that it takes for all of those rules to break is a month, basically.
Well, I imagine, I don't know how one gets a new car and has children, because they
fuck it up.
It seems like that would be difficult for them to understand new rules for new car.
It was.
And also their kids are going to spill things and make messes.
The minute we got it,
and you can't be mad at them.
I put a car seat in it. I was like, I don't want to put a car seat in this because it'll indent on the seat, and I don't like that if we ever take the car seat out. And then as soon as I put my daughter in it, she started like kicking the back of the seat, and I was like, well, don't take your goddamn shoes off or something. You're gonna get all dusty back there. And so yeah, I was embittered to my children for like a month too, where I was like, they're not treating the car like it should be treated. And then after that, I was treating it like a piece of shit.
Yeah.
So I cave pretty quick when it comes to new cars. I always think I'm going to be a new type of a good car owner. I had a roommate in college who was such a good truck owner. Like he would miss class sometimes to wash his truck and like take care of it. And he had clearly done a lot of stuff on the inside that was, he had little like loving touches where the display was all this red. He had like put like a new type of filter over it, and he just liked his truck so much. And I was like, and it is nice to ride in your truck, James. So I would like the kind of car that when I pick up friends, they're like, oh, this is comfortable, as opposed to like, oh shit, you live like this?
Yeah. I could see it driving a person crazy, honestly, because based on the normal driving I'd done, plus the mini road trip this weekend, I crossed 1,000 miles on the car and was a little bit heartbroken about it. Yeah. But then I think like, what's the plan here? Your plan is to have a car that you can drive around and like get mud on it, and it'll get dings and dents from being a car that exists in the world. I can't own a car just so I can have people come in and sit in it and smell it, and it'd be like the first time that I sat in it and smelled it. That's insane. We can't do that.
Did it rain at all on your trip?
Yeah, not on the trip. No.
Okay. I remember being in the car with first time it rained and being like, "Is this okay? Is this okay?"
It rained on the way home from the dealership, and I was so mad. It's like, how could they do this to me? And can I go back to the dealership and say, no, I will trade this one in for a dry one?
Dry one, please.
Whenever the rain stops, I will take a dry one, please, and thank you.
Wherever you store these, just pull from the back of the rack. Because also, if somebody else touched it, I don't want that either.
This one's wet, so destroy, I suppose.
Yeah, the first time I encountered rain, I was like, but it's, what if it gets inside?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point. Somebody designed a car so that doesn't happen.
I know.
But I'm irrational.
It's the things that I Google now for the first time in my life where it's like, what is the best car wash near me? And then beyond that, I also need to know, like, what's the secret nice thing that we're supposed to do with our cars that I assume I've been kept in the dark on for 37 years. But it's done. Wash it with, like, it's
You just wash
just
it.
things.
You wash it, and then you put a coat on it of something that keeps the water. It's like a water repellent coat on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can do that. Most car washes just do that anyway. But
Okay.
like all you got to do is just wash it pretty regularly. And that doesn't even mean like once a week. That means like once every 2 or 3 weeks. And then as soon as you wash it, have just a felt, like a really soft towel in the car that you can go wipe down the outside with so you don't get those spots on it.
Yeah.
Your car will be great forever.
Forever. And that's a guarantee.
Yes. Yeah, forever. It's like the different things that damage your car are just the things that sit on it for long periods of time. So like
Yeah.
bird shit or like berries from some tree that you parked underneath. Like those are the things
Sap
that just
or whatever.
eat through it. And if you, as long as you are constantly washing those off, then your car is fine for a very long time. The inside, it's a whole different ball game. But
I know.
outside, yeah.
It's really funny going from my previous car washing strategy of how often do you wash your car? Well, when I feel like it is a treat for me. When it's been a while and I like sitting in the drive-through car washes and I have the time.
I'm gonna go listen to Let It Go, and I'm gonna sing it while I'm in the car wash. Isn't that something you do? I can't remember. Is that you?
I listen to Everything's All Right, the song that you used to sing to your kids.
That's
this
right.
was like
Everything's all right. Yes, that's a great one to sing in a car wash. My kids love the car wash. Oh, does your car beep when if you're in reverse and there's somebody behind you, it goes bam, 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 or anything like that? I've
so far not been. Like when I'm about to hit a curb.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You saying it was person, I felt like I needed to quickly jump in and be like, I would never put my car in reverse with a person behind me.
Anything like a car goes behind you.
Any object. Yeah, for sure.
Just wait till you get in a car wash, my friend. Your car goes fucking nuts because it's like you're too close to everything. And I get a little a bird's eye view of my car in mind when stuff is close to me, which is actually really helpful for getting into parking spaces and stuff. I can choose to have a camera that's just like sees it from the top. And when I'm in a car wash, like immediately that comes on and it's just showing me it's like red on all the sides. It's just like, here, look out, 6 o'clock, 4 o'clock. I told you that I couldn't get out of my driveway when I first bought my car.
You did. I remember that.
Yeah, same reason.
I'm glad that's resolved.
There were a lot of things I didn't know. A lot of big mistakes I made with a brand new technology car or a new technology car is that I went to the grocery store and as I got there, it said, hey, the car wants to do an install. Like there's a new software installation. I was like, cool, do it while I'm shopping. And then went inside, didn't realize that it's a 2-hour installation. Got back to my car, couldn't even open it. It's just a dead brick.
There's so many things I didn't learn about my car because they gave you that book with all, and I thought I've wanted a car for a while. And through all that time, I was thinking, the next car I get, I'm going to memorize that manual. I'm going to know what every single light and button does and means and how to do the right maintenance on every single part of it. Those books are so fucking boring. I can't.
Bad writing, honestly.
They're not good. Yeah.
Not compelling at all.
No, bring it back to the room.
Do you want to Do you want to quickly do our show?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Do you have? I've talked a lot.
No, that's okay. I want you. There's a quick question that I want you to ask.
Okay. Hey,
Do that.
hey, Soren, quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, don't mind me. I was only talking about how much I've been talking because I desperately wanted a water break and for you to fill some time.
I'm about to.
But
I'm about to as soon as
Okay,
you ask
good.
this question.
All right. What would you like to be 1 to 2% better at or about? This is I've never really nailed the wording for this question, but I want to keep it fairly narrow, keep the percentage small, because the thing you pick, the design of this hypothetical is that the thing you pick, it can't drastically change your life in like obvious ways. Like if it was 10%, then you could say 10% smarter. That opens you up for better jobs and more money or whatever, or 10% stronger has another like very obvious advantages. So ideally, the change would be something that you personally would feel and notice, but other people, even those very close to you, might not necessarily catch on to it.
Yes.
I have mine.
Yeah.
If that helps you, if I do that first.
No, shut up for a little bit and get some water. Mine is.
Is tap or still? Is there a difference that restaurants started saying?
Are you in the
tap
car and
and
does it
still?
offer water? You learning new things? Yeah. So
I just rolled my window down and I'm talking to another Subaru driver next to me.
what do you have?
Maybe it's the same as mine.
I love this question because you proposed it to me a while back, and I was like, "Oh, I would love to think about that." And I've thought about it for a long time, and the thing I landed on is actually super. Is not really beneficial to my life in hardly any way, other than a thing that I'm humiliated by, which is I would rather be 2% better at singing. I would rather be able to sing just 2% better. I think that first of all, I do a lot of singing to my children. And I'm always aware of how that sounds, especially like you go in the middle of the night and they're like snotty and everything, and you lie down in bed with them, so you're lying down and singing at the same time, and it's coming out rough, man. It's like I wouldn't want to listen to this. And then in movies and things, you always see someone singing to their child, and you're like, and it's like this beautiful angelic melodious thing that has no accompaniment, but it doesn't need it. And I'm just like, I wish I could give them that. Also, just like selfishly, going to karaoke or something, or like singing in my car, even when somebody else is there. Like, I wish that I could be just a little bit better singer. I think that my life would, a little bit more confidence with singing. I think my life would be better.
That's such a sweet answer because you're not even thinking like, if I was a little bit better at singing, I could really make a solid go of this singing career. I think because I know you've always, music and singing always hold like a special place of magic in your heart.
Yes.
You're really spellbound by singers specifically. And you look at them and they seem, they seem confident, they seem happy, and they're creating so much joy and pleasure with their voice. And you want to be part of that so bad. And you're not flat or like an off-key singer or anything like that, but you do what I do a lot of times at karaoke, where it's like, I'm going to pick a song that's like funny, or that I can, or that like a rap or something that is like, you can talk, sing, because
it's so vulnerable otherwise.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
I get that. And I sing, my sweet, wonderful girlfriend likes it when I sing, and like has asked me to sing to her in the car. And I still like don't really go all out because I like, even though an audience of one already appreciates it, I'm still like, no, I'm not gonna, maybe if I was a little bit better, maybe if I could, then I could really sing.
Yeah.
If I was just like slightly better.
They're just like, they're like, there are certain songs that are just out of the realm of possibility for you. And it's not because like it's high or anything. It's just like they're doing something different that you're like, I couldn't.
Yeah.
I can't do that. And I don't have like the glossary of terms for like how it's different, but they're changing up a lot and stuff. And I'm just like, it's not they're hitting things I don't think I could ever do. And if you could do it, you'd be like, and I could just surprise people occasionally. And the joy that singing gives to people when you like surprise them with good singing, I will go back and watch, even though I hate this guy, I will go back and watch James Corden riding in a car with
Adele.
Adele. And like the first time that he harmonizes with her and she looks at him like, oh my God. Like, I'm like, yeah, like make that moment for people. Or you go to watch people in concert and they will just like hand the mic to an audience member for a second. And if the audience member fucking kills it, like everyone feels better. Everyone wants them to nail it. And when they do, it's like magic. It's so cool. And if I just had just a little bit better at singing, I feel like it wouldn't be, there would never be like a catastrophe in those circumstances.
Yeah. By the way, how many videos of audience members being shit singers are we just completely burying? Yeah. How much money is going into making sure? Because we've all seen the concerts where it's like John Legend gives microphone to 13-year-old fan and it blows the whole crowd away. What about like when he was in fucking Barstow, California? It was like, nope, this one's a dud. They look like a good, the big heart, but this kid sucks. I'm doing you a favor by not letting this get out there.
There are a few that have made it. Like, there's a one with Beyonce where Beyonce gives the mic to this woman who is basically having a panic attack because Beyonce's so close to her and just butchers it. And Beyonce's face is so disgusted. You're like, oh, that's like, you're going to live with that the rest of your life.
Yeah. I think... I'm sure we've talked about this on the podcast before, but I remain very grateful because of the way my ego has taken shape that writing happens to be the thing at which I excel. Because if it was any other thing in the arts, if it was singing or playing an instrument, you would all see me doing it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if I was a few percentage points better at singing and a good singer and confident in it, you would never get me to stop. Like, when I think of people in my life who are good singers, I'm just like, why aren't you doing this all the time? You're so good and it's so cool and people will like it. Yeah. I fucking lost the lottery because the thing that I'm good at looks like shit when I do it.
I think we're notorious tryhards.
Yeah.
And so I think we are really lucky that it is writing, because writing is such a thing where it's like, you can pump out as much as you want, but there's no, like, you're not doing it in front of somebody. You're not like, and then I wrote this thing on a napkin for you. It's a joke. Here, do you like it?
Yeah.
Like, that's not how writing works. So it's really nice that we get to hide it. We get to hide the fact that, like, I have to keep doing this. I want people to read it. I need people to see that I'm good at this all the time and get that
oh,
feedback.
no, I'm saying I'm grateful. I think it's really good for me that this is where my talent found purchase. It's because if it was something louder or more showier, no one would like me because I would be doing it too much in a very visible way.
What is yours? What do you want to be 2% better at?
I would like to be 1 or 2% less clumsy. This fits the parameters of the hypothetical that I've forced in this conversation, because it's not keeping me from any jobs or anything like that. It's not keeping me out of a better tax bracket or anything. It's not like a big enough improvement in like my physical abilities, as far as like, it's not the thing that is stopping me from being a real force on the local softball team or anything like that. My clumsiness. I just, as we've talked about on this show, I fall down a lot and I bump into things. I'm constantly dropping and losing things. Once more, I accidentally started my car 5 minutes after learning how I could do that with my phone. When I sent this email,
you're a rom-com girl. You're as clumsy as a rom-com girl.
1,000%. And it's never like, I'm not so clumsy that I'm driving my car into a tree, or like, I was going to say I'm not so clumsy that I'm breaking bones all the time. I did just break my foot getting out of a car. So I don't know.
Exhibit A. I've forgotten about that.
There's some health reasons. But when I sent this to you as a question to see if it would move the needle for you at all, in the beginning of October, and the example that I pulled for myself was I was just in Florida with my girlfriend and her parents, and I accidentally, through clumsiness, dropped her sunglasses in the ocean. to be gone forever. And I clarified in the email that that was probably the third or fourth weirdest and dumbest way my clumsiness has resulted in ruinous sunglasses specifically. Since that email, I've ruined another pair of sunglasses in a different way. When they fell out of my shirt pocket onto a pad of sticky poison that you use to catch mice.
Oh no. The glue, glue traps.
That's right.
Oh, they're done.
I know. And again, I still think my number one clumsy sunglasses story. And I want to make it clear to the listeners, we're just talking about ways I've lost sunglasses. So you know that this is a paragraph in a chapter in a volume of a series of books about my clumsiness. But I was in like 8th grade and I had my sunglasses on my head. I was in a hotel for a school band trip to Boston or something. And my arms were full of bags of souvenirs for the trip, and the elevator in our hotel, the door was closing. I was like, I gotta run to catch the elevator because I'm 13 and I don't understand that there will be another elevator. So I gotta go and catch this one as fast as I can. And my arms are full of bags. I don't want anything to happen to the bags. I will use my head to stop the closing doors because surely there will be a sensor that senses my head and knows that it's one of the more important body parts, and so the doors won't close or touch me. But that's not how the sensors work. The doors absolutely make contact with my head, so my sunglasses fall off the top of my head and land straight through the gap between the floor in the elevator and the floor in the ground outside the elevator. There's like, it's just as wide as elevator doors need to be and no wider. So it's perfect for a 13-year-old's sunglasses. And they went right down there. And in a way, it's one of those accidents where anyone who sees you, it's so perfect that they have to assume that was your plan the whole time. Yeah. It's like he went head first into an elevator and then watched his sunglasses fall down the sunglass-shaped hole. Bravo. Well done.
They all start
There's
clapping.
no way you were trying to do anything else.
That was as graceful as I've ever seen anyone move in a practiced thing. Yeah, I mean, to an audience, 2% more sunglasses probably doesn't sound like a lot, but to Daniel, that's 200 more sunglasses than he has now.
And it's not, I only use sunglasses again as a comedy specific, but like I'm just clumsy. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing sexy about it, first of all. And second of all, it's just like frustrating because I don't think I have a clumsy brain, but my body just doesn't cooperate. And my this dumb physical lump that I'm shuffling around the world doesn't behave as gracefully and efficiently as I feel like I'm asking it to.
Yeah. I'm sympathetic to that. The times when I am like, something devastating happens for no reason to me. Like when I broke my toe on a couch, just like walking past it, like knew where it was. It wasn't in the dark or anything. Just my foot got too close and then my toe dislocated on it. And after I did that, I was so mad at my body. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? We don't do this. We're not the people who do this.
Right.
I scratch up against a wall and it's like my arm. I'm like, what? How did that even happen? I'm just bewildered that my body did this.
Scrapes and bruises. And Shay asked me about them. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, so obviously I was trying to move this piece of patio furniture that we have. And I tripped and I pinned myself between the wall and the couch. So that's why I have this bruise here. I know it sounds like an impossible accident that couldn't have happened to anyone, but it happened to me. And that's that bruise. And as far as the bruise on my elbow goes, I don't know. But this is what you get with me. Either a highly specific accident or just could have been anything. That's just how clumsy I am.
Honestly, I hit it on 6 things today. I don't know which one actually. They're all probably contributing, honestly.
Listen, you're asking a lot of questions about the bruise on my elbow. We haven't even gotten to the bruise on my chest, and that's where I really think you're going to want to focus your concern.
When you see it. Having children, you run into this a lot too, because they're not in control of their bodies yet, and their bodies are constantly changing. And then also, just like they'll grow an inch in a week or whatever, and all of a sudden they're at counter height. And so like where they used to run underneath the counter, now all of a sudden it just clotheslines their forehead. And so my daughter takes such damage all the time. And if you look at her, she's got, just from being at school each day, she's got bruises all over her shins. And I'm just like, I'll check in with her and I'll be like, where did you get that? And she goes, oh, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot that I'm not seeing even. I'm only getting a small percentage of your actual injuries here at the house.
Right. And also, like, you got to sit her down and be like, listen, it's okay. I need to know where they come from, because someday someone might ask me about the bruises, and I'm not allowed to not remember.
Listen, oh, Gilly, we've got a physical coming up in a week, and if the doctor asks, I gotta know. Although I'm gonna make stuff up otherwise, and you have to back me up.
Right.
So they're certainly with kids, like you're dealing with it constantly, where they're just like, and the funniest things, like the most impossible things, like they'll be like standing on the bottom rung of a stair and somehow fall down 6. Like they'll fall up the stairs and then back down. And you're like, how did you do that? It's like part of it, you want to laugh, but they're crying. So you're like, I can't wait till you're done crying so we can talk about this.
Because you watch them get down to that bottom step, and then you're like, all right, great, I can check out now, because the potential damage is really minuscule at this point.
They're like, we're checking out, good. And then somehow, they fall like up it and then back down, and you're like, well, you weren't even headed in that direction. Or like sometimes she'll just fall down. Like we're just standing in a room together and she falls down. Like,
which I also get. And like we one of the times we had guests, when we had Alex Goldman on the podcast, he is someone else who falls all the time. And I would have to revisit that episode, but I as I recall, our conversation was just me being like, hey, I heard in an episode you fall a lot. He's like, yeah, I'm always falling down holes. I'm like, fuck, yeah, me too. It sucks, right? All the holes out there that we have to deal with as adults, it's the worst.
Oh, no.
What's everybody else doing? How are you guys dancing around all these holes all the time?
Here comes a hole. Oh, no, I'm going to fall now. Here we go. I'm falling in it. It's just unavoidable. Yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot that he's a hole faller.
He's my favorite kind of faller, because he is aware when it's happening and has like enough clarity and control to say, oh no, I'm falling. Which is a thing that only people in like cartoons say. It's no one who falls speaks about it during it, but he has just been around the rodeo a few times that he starts to fall and goes, oh no, I'm falling.
I can't do anything about it. Like his brain is working so fast.
Right.
And like the mouth is doing great, but like the rest of the body is just a few days behind.
Just a Shakespeare character going, oh drat, I am slain.
Yeah. We should have him back on the show.
Yeah, sure.
All right, but as far as this one's concerned, I think we're done.
Are we done? Yeah, you don't have anything? A couple of things that I think are going to emerge from this episode. One of them will be people telling me, just sing to your goddamn girlfriend when she asks you to, you idiot. This is an easy win. And another, I will preempt the commenters for you, and I think it's, you don't want to be a 2% better singer. You just got to be 2% more confident, buddy. You've been telling me about confidence since I've met you.
I sit you on the confidence couch.
Physician, heal thyself. This is every day of my life. You've been teaching me how to fake it and to walk into a room like I'm supposed to be there. Just sing like you're a singer already.
Yes, but the problem is I can hear it. And I know it's not right.
Fake it till you make it, except for a couple of specific circumstances where you will never make it.
Ever. Exactly. All right. You've been listening to our show. This is Quick Question. You can follow Daniel and me on X. Daniel's at DOB_Inc. I'm Soren, Soren_LTD. You can also follow Quick Question at QQ_Soren and Dan. Daniel and I are also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at Soren Bowie at Blue Sky at something, whatever it is. It's just Soren Bowie.
Did you notice that I deactivated my Twitter again for about 2 weeks?
No. But also, there's a weird thing. This is going to sound personal. There's a weird thing that happens where I don't get, especially even like replies from you show up in my replies.
Oh.
I don't know why. I have to like hunt out your tweets.
Good. Everyone should.
You can email us at QQ with Soren and Daniel at gmail.com. We have a sound engineer, editor, and basically just all around great guy. His name is Gabe Harder. You won't find him anywhere. We have a Patreon at
Treasure is not supposed to be handed out. You hunt for it. You fight for it. You beat others out for it. And then you enjoy it all the more.
That's true. Yes, that. You can also, if you would rather see our faces as we do this, we have a couple of video versions of our podcast. One recently with Jason Pargin, where you can find those at youtube.com/@QQ Podcast. And me, Rex, who did our theme song. If you like that type of music, which I am a huge fan of, you can find their music at merex.bandcamp.com. They also have a new album out. The new album is called Giant Elk, and they have a music video for one of their songs, a song called Giant, 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 and you can probably find that on YouTube. So go check out Me Rex as well.
Bye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all the guys know? Oh, forget it. Soren Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.